I'm John McCullagh from PositiveLight.com, and I'm at the Regional HIV/AIDS Conference in Durham, Ontario, which is a suburban community east of Toronto. I'm with Claudia Medina from PASAN. And Claudia, what's PASAN? Can you tell our viewers that?
So yes, definitely. PASAN stands for Prisoners HIV/AIDS Support Action Network, and we are actually an organization that provides support to HIV-positive prisoners, but as well as the whole population that is incarcerated to prevent HIV infection in the prison system. We also support their families as well, and my position there is as Women's Prison Program Coordinator.
So let's talk about women and HIV, particularly if they're incarcerated. The rates are higher for women in prison. Rates of HIV rates are higher for women in prison. Why is that, Claudia?
The rates in general for women and men are higher in the prison system as it would be in the general public.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a huge statistic that now we have confirmed. The Correctional Services has actually confirmed that is definitely.
So why is that the case?
So it's really access to harm reduction tools as well. So there is no real harm reduction that takes place within the prison system. So you won't see needle exchange kits or crack kits or and tattooing kits. That is illegal in the Correction Services eyes to have within the institution, although there have been over 17 countries that actually are providing needle exchange kits and harm reduction tools.
But that's not the case in Canada.
That's not the case in Canada. So that is a huge issue. And then the other one would be the lack of supports that exist outside of prison. For someone who is, it's a revolving door for them that are going in and out of prison all the time, going out, not getting the supports for mental health or addictions or housing, that they're put in higher risk of getting HIV.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like to be a woman and be HIV infected when you're incarcerated. What supports are there or aren't there for women in prison?
Well, as I said before, one of the supports that there aren't is the access to harm reduction tools, right? And for the most part, there are programming that does exist within the prison system, but however, it's very limited, and being able to have access to an institution, sometimes there's barriers that are placed for you to be able to get inside to an institution to be able to provide HIV and AIDS education. The majority of issues that we deal with are stigma and discrimination. Once someone is HIV positive, confidentiality is close to nil when you are incarcerated.
Is that from other prisons or from the staff?
So both. You know, I have heard of many cases where guards have public knowledge of someone being HIV positive, which shouldn't be the case. And also I have heard stories in regards to prisoners themselves, you know, not being educated about HIV and AIDS or Hep C and being really afraid of contracting it.
Well, Claudia, now what about access to treatment? Is that an issue? Or?
Access to treatment is a huge issue when you're incarcerated. The issue is that some of the institutions do not have a pharmacy on site. Okay. So many of them are off site. So if someone comes in, this is where you know, I bring up the problem in regards to preparing someone when they go into prison. There shouldn't be a lull there in regards to taking their HIV medications. What ends up happening is before they can actually get them, they'd have to order them from the pharmacy. Sometimes it's taken 3 days, sometimes it's taken up to a week or more for HIV positive people to get their meds.
That really raises an issue about opening those women to resistance.
That's right. So that opens the women to resistance, and you know, huge stress. Huge stress, amount of stress because of the fact that they're, you know, anxious about their HIV.
Claudia, just finally, before we finish, what do you think are some of the solutions to these issues that you've identified?
Well, in general, I think that there needs to be some huge systemic solutions, that we need to be thinking more along the lines of an abolitionist perspective.
Right.
And are prisons really the best solution for being able to help society and people who have had criminal activity, or should the government be focusing more on mental health and addiction centers to open those up to be able to provide the help that many of these women do need?
Thank you, Claudia. There's a lot of issues there that obviously we need to think about and address, and thank you for putting some of these issues on the table for us.
No problem.
I'm John McCullagh for PASAN.com.